Pickaxe.
Good morning, Crust. It's a great day to be a bread brother.
Ugh, mornings are not my jam. Or jelly.
Oh, come on. Stop loafing around.
I just woke up feeling hollow inside.
Psst, just grab one of the new Morning Uncrustables sandwiches, like Bright-Eyed Berry or Up and Apple, filled with 12 grams of protein and tons of deliciousness. Crust, what are you eating?
It's just granola, not even yogurt.
No crust, no fuss. Uncrust your mornings.
Hey y'all, it's time for Rolling Dice and Taking Names. Welcome to the first episode of 2026. In this episode, the guys talk about some holiday gaming, plus full reviews of Night Soul, Mini Express, and Tulip Bubble. Get your first moon pie and RC of the year and enjoy the episode.
Welcome to the year 2026, the time when you would write a check and screw up your numbers. Okay, that's long since passed. This is Rolling Dice and Taking Names, episode number 368, Fascination Street. I'm Tony.
I'm Marty. So did you keep canceled checks?
For a while, yes. Absolutely, yes. That's how I was taught.
If you were go back and look at the checks written in early January, it's like cross out the number and add one to it. So try to turn that 4 into a 5, the 3 into a 4 sort of deal. Yeah, that's interesting. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, misdating checks. Okay. Is there anybody possibly listening to this show that has no clue how to write a personal check?
I have to remind myself when I write them.
I can't remember the last time I wrote a check. A lot of people, a lot of service people, when come by, didn't want to adapt payment with credit cards because of the fees and stuff like that. So it was usually to people that came by and worked on house, whatever like that. But a lot of them now have said, forget it, just Venmo me. So they found ways to get around those fees and stuff. So I haven't written a check in quite a while.
Our service guy, our HVAC guy, they still take checks. I don't have Venmo on my phone, and therefore when they come and I'm here, it's going to be like, you either take a check or I get it for free. You decide.
Or they could just say, we'll not service you anymore. And
I always don't say that until after they're done.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they say, do not answer this guy's call again.
Yeah, no, I got a contract with them. So yeah. And actually, I think, like Donna's hairstylist, anybody who's in the service industry tries to avoid the 3%, 5% fees of credit cards. I actually want to try to write a check at either Harris Teeter, which is our grocery store, or Aldi's, and just see what happens.
Just tick off the clerk.
I think it'd be hilarious. Just test them.
Yeah. So years ago, I guess Travis, about 6 years ago, gosh, it's been that long, worked at Harris Teeter. And he said the worst thing was when somebody wrote a check and just the process you got to go through and all that stuff. So yeah, so you mentioned hairdresser. That's funny. Vanessa goes to a place that just probably within the past year finally opened up a PayPal account, and we just transfer money via PayPal to her.
Yeah, I do that as well with a guy who goes and spreads the lawn. But so what kind of process is it? You put the check in the machine and it goes zoop, zoop, scans it, and they put it in the drawer.
You got to verify. I think you have to check ID. You still got to say, is the person written here? They'll still go through all that process too. Yes. You're supposed to.
Okay. Because I remember when it was like, oh, this is so wild, when you would sign the check and they'd stick it in the machine and print the check for you.
But what's so wild about that is, hey, you're writing a check, I need to see ID. But if this person stole a credit card that you tap that requires no PIN or anything, you're free and clear.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
I know, unless it's been reported, but you're absolutely right. If I haven't reported it yet, shoot.
Tap. Don't even need the PIN anymore. I know people are like, oh, I love the tap thing. It's like, to me, that removes one point of authentication. Is because at least before you had to enter in a PIN number. So if you stole something, you didn't know the PIN, you couldn't buy anything with it.
I just think of Donna's credit cards. They all have on the back of them check ID where it says signature required.
Yeah, right.
It's not one person checks their ID.
No. I don't even know. Do you even sign the back of credit cards? Do you even sign them anymore?
I don't. There's no reason to.
I mean, is there even a spot? So I just recently got a latest Amazon card. There is no spot on the back to
Wow.
no signature. Not even a signature spot on there anymore. Literally, somebody's like, "Oh, find this on the ground," and until I know about it, they just go crazy.
Yep, that's it. Well, I will say it's gotten better. I know if they go too crazy, it's blocked immediately. I mean,
But a lot of people have gotten smart too. It's like, yeah, I'll get $8 here, $16 there, $30 there. I mean, but yeah, you're right. Somebody goes and says, "Hey, here's $300 at a place you've never been." Yeah, you get the little text message going, "Is this right?"
all right. Well, that was taking Jeremy in the Wayback Machine. Was it Jeremy?
We have this discussion
always do this.
a lot.
Oh, Mr. Peabody and
Good Lord.
and
You know what we need to have is like a reference sheet for childhood stuff that we don't have to keep searching for it all the time. It was Sherman.
Jeremy Sherman. I'll remember it next time I use it. Yeah, right. That ain't going to happen. All right. So the holidays have occurred. You put out a special episode with your wife. Well done on the movies. I hadn't seen any of those, so maybe I'll go see one of them.
Hold on. A lot of them are streaming. I just saw F1 just started streaming, I believe, on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good watch.
The one I really want to see, and I may watch it tonight with Donna, is Roof Man. I really want to see that one.
I totally forgot that. We want to watch it too because we've said this so many times. Roof Man took place in Charlotte at the Toys R Us where you and I used to spend a lot of money and time.
That's right. So I want to watch it. I just want to see it. I think it's a great story. They had him on the news when it came out, the lady who was duped by the Roof Man. So I want to see that one.
Thank you for saying that because that's one of those I just totally forgot that we wanted to watch. Let's see where it's streaming. Here, we're a service for people. You know, like you used to call up and go, "Hey, what time do the movies start?"
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's in Paramount. So nope, I will not be watching that.
Oh, well, if you were like me and still had cable because you live in a neighborhood that requires you to have cable so you can get internet, which actually is a really good deal. I get like 9 streaming channels now.
As part of the package?
It's all part of the package, man.
That's nice. Yep.
So I was like, oh, and what's the other one? I keep forgetting the one that includes Kylo Ren and he's a bank robber. The
Oh, Adam Driver. I'm like, what? Kylo Ren's a bank? Yeah, Adam Driver. That is a funny movie.
I won't see that one. And I know that's old, but it's still something. I still haven't seen the Superman movie. So
that's called Logan Lucky. Yep. Came out in 2017. Vanessa and I love that. It's a fun heist movie that takes place in Charlotte. Took place at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. But as you watch this, Tony, when they go through their plans of getting from point A to point B, if you live in North Carolina, you go, yeah, you're not going to do that. It was like unrealistic things. Okay, we're going to go from here to there. It takes us 15 minutes. And it was something that was like 2 hours away or something like that. So it was like, y'all could have at least done it right. For those of us who are local, it's like, yeah, that's not happening. Channing Tatum, Daniel Craig. Yeah, great movie.
Look, I won't watch that one. But so holidays have occurred, and we played a few games over the holidays. I will say one of the ones that's in the running for the 2026 Squirrelies for me, Magical Athlete. Got to play that with the fam. Got up to 6 players, and I will say that with Magical Athlete, we had a combination on the wild side of the board that drug that out over 25 minutes. Between the baby and party animal and moving forward and backward on that and the hypnotist, it was just chaos. I'm glad everybody enjoyed it, but it did get old to where the hypnotist said, you know what? We need to end this. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah. I've ran into that too. And I don't know what you do because it's certain combinations of racers together that causes the problem. So it's not like, well, I want to remove these racers because you can create a bunch of combinations and build weird dynamics between the two. The one I did get rid of, we played it over holidays too, and everybody loved it. We played it again. The one card I did remove was the player elimination card. I don't like that
the
one
mouth.
at all. Yeah, I just got rid of that because that's no fun, especially if you are sitting in a 20-minute race and you're sitting there with your arms folded. because you got taken out earlier.
Yeah. So that one occurred. Also, we had the mouth. I don't mind it, especially if you play it right. I played it wrong, and nobody commented on one of our videos or podcasts, not videos. But the mouth, if they land on a space with one person, they eliminate them. I said, well, it landed on 3 people, and I eliminated 3 people. That we played that wrong, but it made the game go a lot faster. But it was interesting where the mouth was right behind somebody. I was flip-flop. So I flipped with them, and then the mouth came and eliminated me. It was at the end of the race. I thought that was hysterical. So I was like, okay, I'm fine with that.
We actually ran into a weird timing situation deal to where we could create an infinite loop. And it says in the book, if there's an infinite loop, run it once and stop it. But there was these 2 characters, and gosh, I can't remember which 2, which we felt like would have been an infinite loop. And it took us 5 minutes to figure it out. Because in the book, it specifically says, note, these 2 characters do not create an infinite loop. And we're going, but how? Because if I do this and do this, literally 5 of us were sitting there scrolling, trying to figure out how an infinite loop is not created, till we finally figured it out. Well, if this happens, then it will stop. Mm-hmm. So it's weird in something so simple as a roll and move. We got actually bogged down in some of the rules and timing and stuff for this game.
If certain characters come up, I can definitely see that happening. But still, great game. Still having a blast with it.
100%. I do think also we play 6 players. Drafting takes too long. And I'm going to do what Nate, when he taught us at Barbecue, where he gives everybody a set of cards and you draft and pass the cards. That way, everybody is drafting at the exact same time.
Go for that. When we were discussing it or listening to about it, I did not like that. I did not have that issue with 6 players.
Oh, you didn't? Our draft took over 10 minutes.
Oh God, no.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because you're getting a stack of cards and you're reading through all of them.
Well, that's just it. I laid them, like it says, I laid them out in front of everybody.
But at a big table, it's like, then everybody has to get up. Oh, well, can't read them. Can you hand them to me? Well, I'm sorry, but that's what happens. So I'm going to go to or maybe split it in 2. Split the decks in 2, and then have 2 going around the table at the same time. So 2 people are picking at the same time.
So what happened with ours was they were 6 people, 12 cards were out there. I went through all the cards very quickly, and then I said, okay, who do you want? So when it got to it, people said, you know what? I don't care. He's pretty.
I'm sorry. I'm playing with people. It does matter. And they were like, I want to know what each of them do.
Oh yeah. I told them what they did, but they forgot by the time I got to them.
That's what I'm saying is so. But anyway, yeah, it's still a great game. Another game that was really big for us too, which I'd heard a lot about last year, was Things and Rings. This is a party game from All Play. And it's basically a party game built around Venn diagrams. And so you're given these loops, like these cloth rings or whatever, that you lay out on the table, and you overlap. There could be 1, 2, or 3 rings. The regular game is played with 2 rings where they overlap and have the intersection. And one ring, the yellow ring, is like, okay, all the words in this ring have one related thing about the word, like number of letters, number of syllables in it, number of certain vowels that are in it. The other circle is an attribute of the word itself, is cold, made of wood, etc. What happens is the person who's running the game draws the 2 attributes. And let's say, okay, I'm looking for words that are 2 syllables and made of wood. And then I draw a hand of cards and I play 2 of those cards out on the table. It's either going to be neither of the 2, one of the 2, or the intersection of the 2. And that's how I seed the game. Each player gets 5 cards. They'll take a word and put it on the table. They'll put it in one of the circles, the intersection of the 2, or on the outside. I say the card is in the right location, or I pick it up and put it in the right location. And if I do that, they draw a card and their turn is over. If the card they played is in the right spot, I say, good, go again. And your goal is to run out of cards. So you're trying to look at patterns of words on the table and deduce what the meaning of each of the circles means. And it was a huge hit.
Oh, good. Okay. That's like, reminds me of the game that had the graph where you were putting the cards, assign that
Mind
kind of stuff. And now we're
something. But this one is way better because it makes more sense and is way less ambiguous.
Okay, that's good. And then we also do mismatch perfect or something like that. We got from Aries Games. I forget the name of that one. That was similar, where you're sliding the dots across. And okay, all right, very good then.
So, for example, if somebody played table and put it over on the circle made of wood, it is made of wood, but it's also a 2-syllable word. So I'd pick up that card table and put it in the intersection between the two circles because it covers both. And I say, your turn is over, draw a card, and it's the next person's turn. And they'll go, but I thought I figured it out. Well, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
So it is a really fun party game, dirt cheap, and I see why it was a big hit in 2025.
Okay, very good. I really didn't get any other games on the table other than Ticket to Ride with mother-in-law, daughter, son-in-law, wife, where I blitzed them, completely decimated them in Ticket to Ride, and I about created a family issue where the mother-in-law yelled at me for taking a route, and I blocked her, and I was told, my son-in-law was like, well, we're here to play to win. And I'm like, listen, it's the end of the game. I know, thumbs up, yeah. And I said, here, fine. I'll just move it to another route that's equal in trains. It's points at the end of the game. Y'all aren't going to beat me anyway. And finally, well, there was no way. I had 5 completed tickets. I had the longest. It was ridiculous. But anyway, so I moved it. And then, so she goes and plays the trains where she says, then we tally up the tickets, and she was actually looking at the wrong city. I'm like, oh my gosh, it was funny. But yeah, I mean, son-in-law's like, we really need to change Ticket to Ride to where you play to win and none of this be nice game. And my wife said, no. And so that's how it is.
Wow. Then maybe you just need to play co-op games.
I know. Or just no games at all. What can I say?
I got to play a 2-player game with the guy at work I play lunch games with. It's from Bitewing Games, and it's called Ichor. And it's from Rhino Knizia. This is a classic 2-player kind of asymmetric game where you're playing as Greek gods and monsters. And it looks like a chessboard. It's a 6x6 grid. You're going to draw 6 characters. You have standees for each of the character. You put them on the second row of the board. Each of those characters have a special ability. The gameplay is super simple. On your turn, you're going to take one of your characters, move it as far as you can horizontally, as far as you can vertically until you hit the edge or hit another character. However far you moved, you're going to take your colored discs and put them down in the grid on the board. Your goal is to run out of discs. Once you get all your discs placed, you win. If you go over, if your path covers a disc that your opponent has, you give their disc back to them and you put your disc down. So it has like a go type thing to go. Othello has an Othello type thing where you're constantly changing who owns what square. But instead of moving, you have the option of using the player power of the character, and the player powers are varied. Hey, this guy can move diagonally this turn. This person can jump over another character this turn. And once you use a power, you flip it over and it is done for the rest of the game. That is the entire game. So it is a super simple 15-minute 2-player asymmetric game that if you like sitting down playing chess, checkers, this is a more gamier version of that. So it's really simple. It's a small box. The art on it's really, really good. And I got that, and I also got Iliad. I have not had a chance to play Iliad yet, but we saw that played at Gen Con. If you remember when we were playing Star Wars, what was it? What were we playing? We was playing something, and David Waybright and somebody else was playing a 2-player game beside of us. That was Iliad.
Okay.
So yeah, Bitewing Games, another really kind of classic 2-player Rhino Knizia style abstract game.
I got nothing else, man. It was a simple holidays, good break.
Well, to kick off 2026, first, hey, thanks for coming back and being with us on our first episode of 2026. We want to mention one big change that you may be noticing. We had been with a network that automatically placed ads in our show. We are no longer with them. We're in the process of moving on to another network. it'll be the same sort of ads and stuff like that. It may be different ads, but this is a network that has more people in the tabletop hobby. So we're hoping that the people that we're working with, the ads make more sense for the people that are listening to this show. Hopefully they won't be as generic. That's the goal. There are podcasts on this network that exceed, gosh, Tony, what'd they say? Was it 250, 300,000 listens per month? Which is like 10 times what we do, sort of deal. So it's huge networks out there that we hope can again, get the right advertisers in here so that you guys hear something that's more applicable to what you want to hear. Also, I will say too, you probably haven't heard any ads from us in a while for Game Toppers. That's just because they finished their Kickstarter, so they don't really have anything on the horizon. So we're taking a break from them for a bit until Berkey says, hey guys, I got another project coming up. Let's work together again. So that's why you haven't heard that either. No hard feelings or anything like that. It was just, hey, we finished up the Kickstarter and now we're going to be fulfilling and getting ready for the next big thing.
We were on a break.
Nice.
Oh my
Friends call back. Nice.
I will say that the RDTN code, RDTN, still works over at the eWin racing chairs. Be sure to check those out if you didn't get one. Santa didn't put one in your stocking. As well as be sure to go buy me a moon pie. We appreciate all your support in 2026, as always. I mean, the show's never going to go away, I'm afraid. However,
buymeamoonpie.com. No, I'm just saying that's the buymeamoonpie.com, which takes basically to buy me a coffee. That's who runs this site. And thank you for those who have been supporting us. It does really help the show. And we don't promote it enough. We probably should. You're supposed to do that all the time, but we don't. But anyway, yeah, if you want to support the show in 2026, you can. And of course, a lot of stuff happening over on the Discord. Shoot. I got to go pick the 2 names for the winners for the miniature market contest.
Okay.
I got to do that right after we're done here, which was one of our biggest contest entries ever.
So one thing I will say that I did see an exit ramp for me.
Oh, what is
Kurt
that?
On Facebook.
Okay.
You ready? You
Yes.
may have seen it. Do you remember the old podcast, The Dukes of Dice?
Yes.
Alex and Sean. Alex has moved to North Carolina, or moving to North Carolina.
Really?
Really?
Do we need a third chair?
Well, he's going to be up in the Greensboro area, so it'd be kind of tough, but never do know. I may be able to talk him into it.
Sweet. Alex will be here. So I think he was in St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. That's all. Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. We need to hook up with him. Hey, that'd be cool if he was like at some local cons or something like that and hook up with him and do some stuff. Awesome. All right, y'all, let's kick off 2026. Yes. With some games.
Hold on. Check your check.
I know.
Cross it out.
With some games that we played over the holidays.
Well, the big fat jolly man, me, didn't get you what you wanted for Christmas. You didn't get that game you needed. Better yet, you just heard about a game that you're really interested in. So head over to miniaturemarket.com. Don't forget about their daily deals that happen at 10 a.m. Central Time. Constantly got the sales going on over there. Matter of fact, I know just recently they had a sale where everything was like $26. What brilliant marketing mind came up with that? What prompted them to say these games are only worth $26? Oh, wait, it was the New Year's sale, 2026. They also have all the zipper cases. I know we have gotten some people convinced that Star Wars Unlimited is the game. So head over there to get your Gamegenic accessories. Marty just brought out this incredible twin sun map. Oh my heavens. Amazing. Go check it out over at Miniature Market or use the Miniature Market trading card collectible zipper cases. Some of these cases, like the 250 plus, I have one. I know Marty has one. Matter of fact, we gave one out at Gen Con a while ago. These things are top freaking notch. They're hard cases. Your cards can't get hurt. They won't be crushed. They've got Velcro sides or separators in them. They've got little pouches for your tokens that can go in there. These are top-notch miniature zipper cases for your collectible card games. They always have PayPal. They now have Venmo checkout. Look at them. We talked about that at the beginning of the show. Everybody's getting into this. I may have to download that app myself, and Donna can allow me access to an account. I don't know. We'll see. miniaturemarket.com.
It's Tudor England. Tony, there's poop all over the streets, and we need to clean it up.
Okay.
We're a company. We're industrialists. It's like, I need to make a few bucks. And I see that a lot of people are saying, I wish there was no crap in our streets. Is there anybody I can pay to come and clean the crap off the streets of London? And all the players of this game, Night Soil, are coming in, trying to make some money by doing just that for the citizens of London.
Well, good. I'm glad we have a purpose in life. So this was interesting to me, and these are just our basic thoughts at the beginning before we go through and talk a little bit about the rules. And when you think about worker placement games, what's one of the key elements of a worker placement game? You get your workers back. That's not the case here, which I think was a challenge for us as we were playing. We weren't understanding how to best utilize that, or at least for me it was. I was like, okay. And then when I didn't have those workers, I sat around and twiddled my thumbs. I'm not saying it's bad, Marty. I'm just saying that was very different. And I kind of liked it,
Yeah, so you're right. Usually everybody has their own color workers they're going to place on the board. Basically, these are just generic colored tokens. There's a large worker and a small worker that each of you are going to get a certain allocation of workers at the very beginning of the game. And you're going to use those workers to be placed onto the board to take certain actions. However, you're not guaranteed at the end of a round that those workers are going to be coming back to you. There are things that you can do to make sure that you get workers back, but you can't guarantee it. So after that first round, people are probably going to have a different number of workers that they can place on that board. Now, before I get too far into it, this is Night Soil from Grail Games, designed by John Moffat. Now, Tony, I've always said in the past, I do like games that have very distinct phases. And this game has a very distinct phase where it's broken over the parts of the day. In this 2 to 5 player game, plays 60 to 90 minutes. You've got a map of London. It's pre-populated with some little brown cubes or poop that's in the streets that you are going to be working to try to get rid of. You're going to kick off the game with the day phase, and the day phase is where you place your workers. Like, so you take those workers, you put them into a location. That location will have a particular action. You take that action, and it moves on to the next player. And Tony, these actions vary through all sorts of things of just strictly gaining money, which is the goal of the game. You want to have the most money by the end. There are actions for laying one of your markers on the board, which is like claiming a neighborhood. This is the neighborhood that I'm advertising in. I'm claiming this one. I'm telling people I'm going to make sure this neighborhood is cleaned up. And if it is, you're going to be rewarded at the end of the day. And there's also a grid at the top of the board that you can place tokens on. And they're consistent of rows and columns that if you have a majority in that row or column, it'll give you an in-game ability that you can use the rest of the game until somebody has more of their pieces in that row or column than what you do, and then they'll claim that title, which is, again, a big bonus and a big boost that all of us were fighting for. So, Tony, the day phase just feels like a typical worker placement game.
With limitations on where the workers can be placed, because if you place a worker, it comes to the neighborhood. Now, depending on the size of this worker, let's keep that in mind. There are two sizes. There's large and small. Put the worker there. He's got to go potty. And as long as he can, because you can't only have so much poop in a district, then that's okay. You may place that worker there. So there's the limitation of the game. A large worker is going to poop twice. He's going to drop 2 cubes down on you. So you have to be cognizant of that when you're wanting to do workers. And then in later phases, if I'm wanting to get these actions or events that are occurring during the game, then I need to make sure that I'm able to clean those out later. So that's kind of the thought process. It's not as simple as just place a worker, go body, and then move on. You got to think through all this process. So day phase, place your workers, you've done some poop, you've hit your limitations, you got to take the various actions that you're allowed to take, and then we're going to move over to the night phase.
So
During the night,
so you're saying that large meeples poop more than small meeples. Is that what you were saying?
they always do.
So the
They eat
large large dumps two, one small little meeple dumps one. Okay, so big people poop more. All right, I see where you're going.
So then we go into the evening phase, which is, everybody can kind of do this, where we're moving the workers around the neighborhood, depending on the various rules that you need to have. So you've got the evening phase where the large workers on the board, they'll be placed in neighborhoods and play if they can. If any of the neighborhoods have no night soil cubes on them, place 1 cube on them, add a coin to each full neighborhood. That's key.
That's key. That's when they can't hold any more poop. And you always love to throw theme into this, but the theme of this was super fun. Let's admit it. It was like, all right, look, our streets are full of crap. We can't take any more. I'm just throwing money out. Please, somebody come clean this up. That's kind of what's happening here.
So you complete the evening phase. You're basically seeding the board with coins and moving the workers around so that people can possibly claim them in the next phase, the night phase. During the night phase, in turn order, the players are going to perform the following steps. I love when games have easy steps. Check to see if their own neighborhoods are clean, and then perform 1 labor card action.
Yeah, so the cleaning thing, this is the important part that your very first point of the game. A neighborhood is clean if there's no poop in it. You own the neighborhood if you have one of your markers on the board. So remember, one of the actions I talked about previously was putting a marker into a neighborhood. If you feel that you can have that neighborhood cleaned during the night phase, then what you do is you immediately take all the tokens that are in that spot and claim them all the coins. Take your markers back, and more importantly, the workers. That's how you get workers for the next round. Meaning, if you don't own any neighborhoods that can be cleaned during this phase, you'll have 0 workers. But Tony, don't worry. If you can't do it the first time around, you might be able to, because then you're going to get to use the laborer cards. Now, this is where we went from day phase as a worker placement game. This is now a card-driven phase to where everybody's given the same amount of the types of cards at the beginning of the game, and typically these cards are used for pushing cubes or pushing poop around the board. Maybe it's moved 2 cubes, maybe it's moved 2 individual cubes, and this is where you're trying to get the poop out of your owned areas and actually into the rivers, because for any poop that you can clean out into the rivers, you claim them. That the more that you remove off the board, the more money you're going to get at the end of this round. Remember, the goal is money.
In later rounds, as you're playing, the more poop you collect, the better off you are for coins. And the laborers, the standard ones have the same actions of moving. Let's move 3 cubes from this one neighborhood into the next, or let's move cubes in 3 different neighborhoods throughout. Certain rules will apply about moving the cubes, like you can't push poop in one neighborhood and then push it back as an action. Things will be dictated based on the cards as you have them played. But there is one thing about these cards that you can do. Once you use a laborer, you take that laborer and you flip them over. They've done their job. They're ready for night. They're ready to go to bed. However, they can work overtime if you pay them. You place a coin on their card, and then you can use them again. Now, you've paid them, so you lose the coin. And as Marty keeps telling you, the more coins makes you the winner. So that's kind of that give and take. I'd really like to use this person a second time because maybe I can move cubes into the tames and therefore collect those, therefore thus gaining me more gold. However, if I'm moving these cubes around and someone else gets an opportunity at using their laborer, they may get this option. Also, they may do something that blocks me from having to clean. Hey, I just cleaned this neighborhood, and look at you. Guess what? Crap goes downhill.
And let me tell you what, this is what I like about this game too. I complained so many times that a lot of Euro games are solitaire games with very little player interaction. During this phase, there is tons because literally you're trying to keep others from having clean neighborhoods, and you will purposely push poop into their neighborhoods so they can't get the sweet coins and workers during their turn.
Mm-hmm. Take that without feeling so much take that, because we're all doing it. Mm-hmm. We're pushing cubes around, trying to figure out how in the world to clean our own neighborhood so we can gather the workers. So in the next round, we have things to do, to be able to purchase additional laborers, to decide how in the world we're going to go out there. So actually placing workers out that's generating this poop is a good thing, because, you're able to block other people, move it to the tames to get coins, which, in the morning phase is when we do all the cleanup, right? Mm-hmm. We're ready to it and we're ready to rinse and repeat. But, you still have, once everybody's done all their labors in the evening phase, guess what? Round's over. Let's go to the cleanup phase.
Now, before somebody comes in and claims a $5 thing for a mistake, it's pronounced Tim's.
Tim's? Mm-hmm. Thames.
Mm-hmm. It's like rhymes with gems.
Why isn't it pronounced Thames?
I have no idea. I don't know. I just wanted to make sure because I thought that doesn't sound right. The river Thames is pronounced Temz. Look, you're a traveler. You're a world traveler. I don't want you to be making a fool of yourself and going, I'm going to go swim in the river Thames.
I will never swim in the river Thames or Thames. I'm not.
You know why? Because they're pushing poop in it. I'm telling you. One thing is, okay, and everybody's going, all right, well, this sounds kind of boring because everybody has the same cards. Aha. One action I did not talk about in the day phase of placing workers is there's a market of laborer cards out there on the table. You can place your worker in one of the areas where you can pay to get a new laborer card. So not only is this a worker placement game, it's a card engine building game. Not really deck building-ish because you're not drawing any new cards, but it is an engine building game to where, Tony, if you get the right combo of cards, you can literally kind of run away with it, which is what I kind of did because of a combo that I had with the cards where I was able to flip a lot of cards back and forth and move a lot of poop around the board at the end of the game.
Right. And which brings to another issue that our game group had was a lot of people were blocked out of being able to get laborers because it was full. It's full of crap. And so they couldn't do it. So that became the spots to be able to go to, is to get additional laborers. Anytime you have new mechanics in a game that you're not used to, there may be that opportunity where players are not able to check one another.
Right.
And that happened here.
Yeah. I think it was people didn't realize how important those cards were because you can kind of develop your own little engine on your side of the table. Another thing we kind of ran into is this can be AP inducive, even though it's very simple actions. The problem is when you're looking at the board of where to place your very limited resources of workers, depending on how well the last round went, you're trying to decide what you want to do, what neighborhood you can clean up. And then once that's over, activating the workers can be a while too, because you're looking at, well, I can move 3 cubes here, one of several cubes here. What's this person going to do? And so you're thinking about your options, and it could take a little time. So we did run into a little AP on this because, again, if they get during the night phase at the beginning of your turn, you're looking for clean neighborhoods you own because that's where you get your money and your workers back.
Exactly.
And then, of course, you talk about at the end is the morning phase, and you're going to collect money based on how well you collected poop. One thing I do like in this game, there's no ties. Mm-hmm. There is a patron tile. Remember I talked about where you have majority in the rows or columns. You're claiming what's called patron tiles. One of those is break ties, which became an extremely valuable tile to have because having ties in breaking majority would give you additional patron tiles. It would help break ties at the end of the morning phase for getting more coins than possibly somebody else has, sort of deal. So those kind of came into play too. Again, I love the player inactivity. I love the worker placement and the fact that you aren't guaranteed workers every round. I like the card engine building mechanic of it. It can be pretty brutal when you're locked out of being able to buy that card. Now, one of the actions you can also take on your turn is you can change the player order. There is one option there to change the player order so that hopefully you can get to the point where you can almost guarantee yourself of being able to buy a new card. But I did that nasty thing of keeping the neighborhood where you could claim another card full of poop. Now, there was one way around it. There is another spot on the board where you place a worker where it allows you to take an action of any other spot on the board. So that is another place that you could claim a card if you want to. And that's typically where it came from at that point. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, and I think one of the problems I had was I was more concerned about majority than poop. And that I wasn't, backing off on trying to always maintain majority. So I was concentrating where I shouldn't have put too much effort.
So again, Night Soil, it takes mechanics that you're very familiar with, kind of mixes them together into one game. Mechanics by themselves aren't doing a lot new, except the thing with the workers. I'm sure somebody else has done the thing where you aren't guaranteed workers every round. I did like that fresh part of it. I did like the player interaction. It's not really a resource management. It's the only resource you got's gold. And that's for buying new cards potentially. But that's also your victory points too. So Night Soil, Grail Games, we typically like those guys and their games. And really unique theme. And we have not seen a theme based on this, from if I recall. Nope. If you want to go push poop around Tudor England, you can do so in Night Soil and Grail Games.
Everybody knows I am not a fan of flavor text, but I am a fan of history and some of the things that lead to some of the events that occur in history. For instance, in the 1950s, the Chicago onion market had severe issues where two gentlemen went over and schemed to corner the onion futures, which led to an 82% drop in onion sales on the Chicago market. And thus, in late 1950s, the Onion Futures Act was put in place so that the only thing that cannot be traded on the Chicago futures market is onions. You can't do it. It's not allowed because of that event. But you would think history should never repeat. Hold on.
Well, and I think it did repeat itself. Don't you remember in the 80s when there was this issue on Wall Street with orange juice concentrate?
Are you confusing yourself with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd?
Yay! He figured it out.
Trading
places. Trading places.
Trading places. Yes.
The movie where if you want to understand how markets work, go watch this movie. I swear every time I watch that movie, I have to pause it and go read what exactly just happened here.
Or Wall Street,
Yeah.
I'm watching Wall Street. I go, okay, back that up. Or I have to go to YouTube and watch, oh crap, Margot Robbie in the bubble bath, the Big Short.
Wolf on Wall Street.
That was, Leonardo DiCaprio, Wolf on, but she was also in a bubble bath explaining mortgages on The Big Short, starring Steve Carell. Amazing movie about the real estate failures of the 80s. Or was it 2008? 2008.
Well, Tony, I'm sure this is going somewhere of something to happen in history on the market.
I'm not landing this plane. I'm not landing this plane. All right. So history constantly repeats itself. So Tulip Mania started in the Dutch, where the Dutch Golden Age, tulips were the rage.
In the Dutch, with the Dutch.
Sorry, I was poorly worded. The Dutch. Tulips were the rage. In 1637, they were such the rage that the entire economy was based on the tulip production. And then when that crashed, you had the economic crisis that occurred. Thus, a game that I really wanted to play, and it's been around for a while, and this is Tulip Bubble, designed by Koyu, Kouyu, Koyu, designed a card stock game where you are trying to be the winner before the big bubble crash, where you are trying to collect the most money. It's a stock market game. Marty and I love our stock market games. Absolutely. I love them all. So I was like very excited that they got reprinted, and I recently got a copy of that. And in this game, you are betting on the futures of various tulips and what the market wants. Various collectors want cards. You have the ability to buy up tulips, and then sell them back later. Take futures on various tulips, hoping that the prices will be driven up. So you're trying to manipulate that and figure out before the burst, hey, I'm going to be the guy who has the most money at the end. It goes over 9 rounds. It can last 7, depends on when the burst occurs because you put that in the card. But on the very first round, you have the event phase where something happens and tulips will either go up or down.
There's 3 different colored tulips, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's basically 3 different types of markets that you're looking at, and there are 3 different tulips. And the event will drive up or down prices of these colors of tulips.
Then we have the various shipment of tulips, which occurs where we are shifting the market around, where you see the tulips that are on the boat coming. Now, y'all were giving me grief about this. The tulips are coming in, they're still on the boat, but wait a minute, we're producing them right here. Okay, fine. We're in a different country, all right? Stop it. Stop trying to make sense out of this. It's just a game. I know.
Hey, you're the one that's about history and stuff, and so I'm trying to make sense of the history you're telling us.
Then you can go and sell based on your tulips, and you get to sell one time. Sell as much as you want, but you sell once because you're going to need some money to do your futures and get your bulbs ready to go. So based on the market price, you will then sell to the market.
Now, Tony, I also like this too. I think for market games, I think this is very cleverly done with the board of tracking the values of the market. It is a simple 3-row grid where each row has a value. Each bulb has a certain letter designation, A, B, or C. The rows are designated A, B, and C. So you look where your current color of the bulb is on the, you have these 3 markers at the top of the columns that show which column you're going to look down. And you look A, B, C on your card, just do a little intersection, intersect, and that's how much gold that you're going to get. So I think it's very easy to track what the current price is. My brain was working kind of weirdly for a little while because there's a color involved and a letter involved. There's also a number on the card, but the number doesn't matter at this point.
No, not to sell to the market. And
Right.
And I think the other thing that we had to get our heads around, which I don't mind, was whenever we sold to the market, it did not adjust the prices.
That was weird too, because in a typical market game, selling to the market should increase supply, and that would affect the price, but it does not at this point.
Now, you could also sell to some collectors who won't. That's where the numbers mattered on the card, because the collectors wanted specific colors and specific rarities, which are the numbers on the card. And you were able to put those together. Now, not all the rarities, they weren't equal distributed. Like I believe rarity B0 was one of the rarest. So if a collector wanted that was kind of, they came up and you had to really jump on them, and you may have to pay out the wazoo to get them. So you had to keep that in mind. But the collectors gave you an additional bonus. And once somebody fulfilled that collector's need, they were put on the bottom of the deck, unless it was the very high priced valued collector, and they were just discarded. The other thing that was interesting is when you sold to the market, they went into the market area of the tulips for the buying phase. When you sold to the market, hey, I'm selling all the reds, they're going to go to the market. But when you sold to a collector, the collector took them and ran off with them, and they were put in the discard pile. So that limited what was going into the market or what might be showing up in the market. So you had to plan accordingly with that.
Yeah, so just as I don't think we're specifically said, the collectors are just literally cards that are on the table, and it shows there's a certain number of collectors that are trying to find something each round, and everybody's rushing to try to fulfill that collector's needs, because that was the biggest way to get money, was selling to these collectors.
Mm-hmm. Once everybody's had a turn at selling, then we move into the buying phase, which allows us to place our buying markers on the various tulips that are in the rows that are optioned, either the market or what we've just discarded from selling to the market. And you would go around in your first round around. Everybody could place 2 bid markers if they want to. Second round, they may only place 1 bid marker. You have 3. So you either place 2 or 1, and then you resolve the bids. And if there's only one marker on there, that person pays the price of the tulip. Okay? Pretty straightforward based on the grid. But if there's a bidding phase, then you have to bid. Everybody has to start the bidding, and then you have to bid one above the market phase, and then whoever wins the bid
market
collects
value.
that tulip. The value. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. So they'll drive that up. Now, there is a way. Let's say you don't have the money, and this is where I think we fell down in the game. There's a way to finance tulips. And what you do is you can drive the market up on a tulip, and even if you don't have the money, the bank will finance it. And you will be allowed to later purchase that tulip if you get the money. But the downside of financing is you lose one of your bid markers. You can finance all of your tulips if you really want to, not have any bid markers. That's up to you. But I like that. And that's where I think we fell down in this game. We didn't drive the price up on one another like we should have.
And playing market games like this is one of those to where you probably have to play through it 1 or 2 times to kind of figure out how prices are going to move and what you can actually do personally to affect the prices. And this is one of those situations, as you said, where getting from the bank, you could actually really drive the value. But all of us were worried about losing a bid marker too, because they were so valuable. You had to have a bid marker to even able to buy in future buying phases. But with all typical games, our group typically likes bidding games. So this was the part that was fun, where you would go around and start doing your bidding and everything out. And once you could say, I passed, you're just out of the auction. So, and then whoever basically bids the highest, it just pays. But what's interesting is that those who lost the bid actually get money. And Tony, this was weird. It's basically you get the difference from the bank of what it was sold for and what you bid. That was odd. It's like, I lost the bid but got money.
But that's part of the gamemanship. I agree, but that's part of the gamemanship to inject money into the game so you want to drive up the price. Knowing I'm going to stop at a given time, thus I'll be able to collect the benefits of that. And hopefully I can play chicken with you enough to where, okay, are you really going to go there? Because do you really need that for the collector? Well, what's the market at for this? Is it worth it to you? And I think that was some of the issue that I want to understand this game. I think it's more than I appreciated at the time, more than I completely, grasped when we were playing this, because I was so concerned about failing and losing money. I didn't want to push the market like I really should have.
And I don't think I explained it very well. Let me say exactly what it is. You're going to take whatever the market price is and subtract that and the difference between that and what it sold for. And then that amount is divided by all the players that were participated in the bid. Mm-hmm. So if the difference, somebody won at 6, it was valued at 3, and there was 3 players that bid in it, each person gets 1 gold.
Not the winner. Just
not the winner.
Losers.
I'm sorry. It would be divided by, if 3 others participated, so a 4th one, 3 others participated, everybody would get 1. Yeah,
that's right.
So that's how it works. That part just really blew my mind. It was just kind of odd. It's like, usually if you lose a bid, you either get your money back, or you commit nothing, or you lose your bid. It was weird to get stuff back. So it was just odd to me.
So they're not punishing people who's trying to buy it. Now, they may have now not be able to collect a bulb and fulfill for their selling phase. Right. So this was the compensation to help them later in a different round. Now, we still need to adjust some tulips even beyond the event phase, because during the cleanup phase, you've got the market response. And this was important to pay attention to that I failed to do, is that based on the cards in the next shipment, the new arrivals, and the just sold area, whichever tulips have the most of, guess what? Now your market's going to adjust.
Just down, which makes sense. There's more supply, so the demand will drop. Likewise, whichever color tulip is the least amount in the market, the least number of cards, its value will go up 1 space.
And 0 is a least.
Yep, it is.
We found
it is.
That.
And us as players were constantly calculating that, which generated a little bit of AP. Because at this point, a lot of us were going, I've got a yellow card in my hand. I want the value of yellow to go up so I can sell it next phase for a lot of money. So you may be thinking, I want to buy yellow to get it out of the market to make it the lowest to drive its price up.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise, if you're saying, holy crap, there's a lot of red in the market, the value of this red's going to go down. Maybe in the selling phase, you see that might happen. Go ahead and sell off your red, knowing that the value of red may actually drop if the market doesn't fluctuate too much during the buying
but you
phase.
just added red to the sold area, thus
Exactly.
driving up the number. Exactly. You're driving that up.
All these little things are going on in your mind, which again can lead to a little bit of AP. Because we were all looking at what was in our hands and what tulip market we wanted to drive up or down. That would determine our bidding decisions during that phase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As you continue the cleanup phase, by the way, no tulip can occupy the same space as another tulip. So if you see like, oh, the yellow is going to jump up where the red is, so we're going to bypass that. Oh, wait, then the white's in its way, so it's going to jump up 3 spots. That's pretty sweet. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the tulips get removed from the new arrivals and just sold, and they're placed in the discard. Flip it back around, start again.
Yep.
And if you ever have someone who at the end of a round is able to purchase the black tulip, the rarest of the rare, for 120 guilders, the game ends. So keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, I also like games where you don't know when it's going to end. You just know in one of the last 3 rounds the game is over. So when you get to that potential ending round, a lot of decisions are made because you think the game may end at that point. I like market games. When I first saw this and I heard the name and saw the front of the box, I went, meh, but I liked it. I liked it. I think it is a very simple market-driven economic game, but it's so simple that it's one of those, I think I could teach a lot of people how to play it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. It's probably the beast of the game was setup and getting people to walk through the first 2 rounds. So every time you introduce this to a new player, it's going to be, all right, let's walk through round 1 so you understand the mechanisms. But I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I'm glad I purchased it. I'm glad we got it to the table. It was a fun game. I know stock markets are not the thing for our group, so I'm going to have to find me a stock group somewhere, someone that can do this.
It's for this guy.
I know, but 2-player stock market game?
Boring. No, I get that.
Boring.
Hey, maybe,
let's go trading places.
Maybe you can bring it. Dyson Diversions. We'll find some market people there. Because there's another big market game that I want to bring to Dyson Diversions that would be hard to get on our Thursday night. So we just have a bunch of market games there. I also noticed that this was from Moaideas, Moaideas Game Design, which I believe is from Taiwan, which is interesting, Tony, because Tulip Bubble came from that company. And the next game we're going to talk about also came from the same company. One of Portal's big games in 2025 was Bohemians. And hot on the release of that, we have an expansion already announced from Ignacy entitled Bohemians Tales of Montmartre, a new expansion for Bohemians, which was a big title released at Essen Spiel 2025. It's got 55 new cards, deepens both the narrative and mechanical layers of the game, portrays the artistic life of that area, Montmartre, with Martre? I don't know how you say it, with all its inspiration, hardship, and unpredictability. So, Tony, it looks like he just had this waiting in the wings. He's like, all right, Bohemian is going to be hit. I know it. Right after that, bam, let's drop an expansion to kick off 2026. So to find out more about that, head over to shopportalgames.com. And we know that they have their big PortalCon in January, and it's usually right after that they'll announce what they're going to have coming out in 2026. So keep your eye on that over at shopportalgames.com. As just teased, we got another game from Moaideas. This is a game that I wish I could remember who mentioned it, but I cannot remember. But when they mentioned a kind of a 60 to 90 minute small train game, I was like, okay, I'm interested. I'm interested in train games. So this is called Mini Express, designed by Mark Garretts, who also had another version of this game called Mini Rails, which was also a train game, but I heard a lot about this one. I'd been keeping an eye on Miniature Market for this was a few months ago when I saw it, and it was under pre-order. Well, I put it on my secret squirrel for last year, and somebody actually sent it to me, and we got a chance to play it. And there is just something about train games for our group that we tend to enjoy. And this has the classic, you've got trains, you're putting trains on the track, and you're trying to buy stocks, and whoever has the most valuable stocks at the end of the game wins. Now, typically, Tony, these games are usually very complicated and very long, but they're able to put that feeling of this track-laying, stock-driven game into a game that lasts, God, I think our second game was 60 minutes, 1 hour, 4 players.
Easy game. And you know me, I love my train games. Love these types of games, especially when you're able to go over the rules in under 5 minutes. I mean, my gosh, matter of fact, I can probably do it in 30 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Build track or take a share. Let's play.
Yeah.
Boom.
Literally, you just have to explain each of those actions and how they work, and then you are ready to go. Probably most of the times, Tony, you're going to be building the track. You're going to be putting tracks on the board, connecting cities. But there's this really interesting mechanic. There's this sideboard that holds all the stock certificates. And above each of the different colored stock certificates are train tokens that represent the number of trains you have available to build track. And it could be up to 5 that'll be above each stock. So on your turn, you say, you know what? I want to connect these 2 cities right here. There's 3 tracks I need to place down. We're going to build an orange track, and there's like 4 available here. So I'm going to take 3 of those, and I'm going to connect these 2 cities together. Now, each city has a demand of a product that they're looking for, one of the 4 different colors. And when you connect to that city, the city's going to say, thank you for connecting a train to us. As you see, we have a demand for these couple different colors of goods right here. Because of that, we're going to reward you. Increase your influence for each of these colored materials or stocks that you have by 1. So on the main player board, you increase your marker by 1 on each of those influence tracks. Tony, I've placed track, but you, Tony, will look, Marty just happened to place orange track on the board, leaving just 1 little train above the stock certificates. And now Tony's probably going to logically take the other action on his turn.
That's right. If I have enough influence in the orange section, and I'm trying to remember, I think that was leather. It was wood, iron, leather, and cotton. I think are the various
brown, gray, orange, and white. Yeah.
There you go. I'm looking at that. I'm like, I've been pushing some leather on some people. I've been, sending it out there. So I've got some good, strong influence on that. So there's 1 little train left in that. So yeah, I'm going to purchase that stock right now, and it's going to cost me 1 influence because there's only 1 little train there. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to take that share now. In-game scoring, that's a good thing. That's a multiplier. Hey, for every orange that I got, depending on the point value, we'll go over that in a minute, I'm going to have some multipliers there. Boom, that just happened. I got me a stock. And now that means that stock is more valuable. But how do I indicate that? Well, I take 3 trains from the supply of orange, put them on the board. Boom. Someone else can now build track with those.
Not on the map, on the little board where you hold the stock board. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Add 3 trains to that. Boom. But keep in mind, there's a maximum of 5 trains at any one time in any of the various stocks. So you do have to keep that in check. Hey, I've done that. My turn's done. Next player, you now got an option. You can either build track or take a stock. Good game. Yeah. Good game.
And literally, that is it. And so the only resource, no gold or nothing, the only resource that you have are these influence tracks. You gain influence by laying tracks connecting to cities. You spend influence to buy stock. That is it. But when the game ends, when 2 stocks have been depleted, when there's no more stock of that particular color, or a stock can also be depleted when there is no more trains available of that color in the supply. That will also consider to be depleting a stock. The game will end. And then what we will do is, I forgot to mention the most important part. When
I was getting ready to say, are you going to get there?
When you lay track down, not only do you gain influence, there's another 4 tracks on the board for tracking how much track has been laid for a particular color. So I mentioned I placed 3 orange down. What I will do is over on the track for orange, I'll increase the marker by 3. 1, 2, 3 steps. And the higher a marker is on the track, the more tracks you place down of a particular color, the more value that stock will be at the end of the game. Hey, big train company, a lot of tracks all over the US, their stock is going to be worth a whole lot more. So at the end of the game, you're going to look and see, okay, orange reached this point. Whoever has the most influence in orange will get this X number of points times the number of stock certificates they have. So we look at the orange column. Oh, look, Tony has been soaking up a lot of leather, but he spent, but he also gained a lot of influence to it. Tony, you were first in leather. How many stocks do you have? Let's say you have 3. 3 times the first place for this, you get this many points. Who's in second place for orange? Okay, you're going to get the second place value. And everybody else will get the third place value. And then we evaluate each of the 4 colors. The person with the most points wins. And that is it.
That's it. Done. Reset. Let's go again.
And we did. It went so fast. Let's just play this again. And we reset it up and played it again. It's a clever little 60-minute train game.
There's rules for about putting down the track, shortest route. You can spur off of things. So many trains can be in certain cities. Placing the tiles out on the board that determine the influence when you're delivering is random, which I really liked. I appreciated that. And I did like that, certain tiles you got to double up on cotton, or I needed to plan accordingly with that. And you were never blocking anyone because, that's not the point of the game. What you were doing was trying to manipulate the number of trains on the stock so that they didn't get an easy buy. That was the game.
100%. And lots of times you may lay track knowing darn good and well you just made that stock extremely cheap for the next player, but the city you connected to was extremely important for you because you needed influence in those colors. Mm-hmm. And there was times, Tony, when I gave up a cheap stock to somebody else because maybe I had an influence of only 1 in a particular color and I need to drive it up to 2 so I could at least try to buy that stock because the value of that stock is going insane. And even though I may come in third of having that number of influence on that, at least I get something. If you don't have stock in that, you get 0 regardless of how high you are on the influence track. And if your influence is 0, you also get nothing regardless of the amount of stock that you have.
All right, that's another fine line. If I buy up all this stock, then no one else will get it. But if I don't have any influence, then I get nothing too. So maybe if I just go up 1 and its value is only worth 2, and that's 8 points. So there's diminishing returns, let's say. You got to keep that in check. You want a variety. Now you may be able to not get 1 stock, but you cannot forfeit 2. All right. I will say that in my opinion, you've got to have something of at least 3 of the things to be competitive. And that's the other thing. Do I really need 2? Where is that one laying? How are we running that track? How are we driving that price up? We talked about Tulip Bubble and driving up prices and what was left. Same thing here. How are we moving the track up to get the victory points? And is there diminishing returns? Because as it moves up, it's not like there's these major jumps in victory points. Is it okay for me to be second? Yeah, I'm only 1 point behind Marty, but he only has 1 stock. I have 2. Well, okay, he's going to get 8 points. I'm going to, because he's in first, but I've got 2, and that's worth 7. Therefore, I get 14 points.
Mm-hmm. And that's nothing. You got to consider it's like I'm in first place right now with only 1 stock. But if I drop back to second place, and allows me to buy a second stock, it's actually better for me in the end. And you're constantly doing this kind of mental math as you're playing to decide, do I want to buy or not? Another thing you had to keep an eye on too, as stock depletion was occurring, very few stock left or very few trains left, and you realize, holy crap, I really need that stock. Then you were quickly trying to make sure you had enough influence on your turn. You could buy the stock before it went away. Because once it was depleted, that stock can't be bought anymore. And that market is closed out.
Really like this. Mini Rails, didn't get to play that. And this game was the second one out. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to try to probably read the rule book on Mini Rails to see if we would like that one. It's also a buy stock, build track type of game, but it's a different mechanism of tracking the various stocks and see if it's available, maybe just add that one to collection. It's one of those that I think, there was a very old game called Spikes, The Last Spike.
Yes.
Very, 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 very simple game, but I would put this above that to teach to my older gaming crowd. I think they could understand it. And it's a small box. Love me some small box.
And you know what? I also compare it to the Capstone Rail series. You remember they had like 3 games in the Rail series, and they were all very different. Unfortunately, it's been so many years since I played them. I can't remember which one this is the closest to. So what I want to do is I want to go back and pull those off the shelf and see which one is this closely more mimic and see which one I think I would like better. But I do like it's a 60-minute game. Like, I would rather play this than Ticket to Ride.
Oh, yeah.
Just right now, because that whole market thing is there that I really enjoy. So I'm glad somebody got me this for Secret Squirrel. I love it. It's going to be staying on my shelf. Mini Express from Dice Games.
All right, our favorite game show ended recently. The series ended. The championship was awarded. Good series finale. Unfortunately, it's been a while since I watched it, but there was one thing that stood out to me, and that was one of the people had ancient Greece. Do you remember that lady that had ancient Greece?
I do.
They were doing the battle, and what caught me, which made me laugh out loud, was they were going through the various gods, and they went through one god's, and they said Nike, and somebody on the floor goes, I didn't see a shoe. I'm sorry, that was funny to me that they actually captured that. So they got mics all over the show, and the producers are like, "Oh, that's gold, Jerry. That's gold right there." I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And some of them were good battles. Some of them, I like to use them in my trivia here in the neighborhood, where I take some of the pictures and have the people match and stuff like that. So good series, and I'm really glad they added the category still. I thought that was a good move by them.
Yeah, I was wondering, will anybody do that? That actually became pretty important, especially the old switching with somebody else, then challenging that one immediately.
Yes.
So
and it made a hard choice for people. Do I take the time boost, or do I set myself up for later for a category that I know maybe people don't want to challenge me? And I mean, this, they talk about, I've had weeks to study. You didn't have no weeks to study. Donna looked it up. Somebody had posted a blog. They filmed this thing in, I think, under 2 weeks, and they're sitting there on the floor flashcarding. They know the categories that they're coming into, so they're flashcarding themselves. They've brought this stack of paper with them.
Yeah.
So.
I know that. I'm sure the producers tell them to say that, but I bet they film probably a couple episodes in a day, maybe 2 or 3 episodes. It's like Price is Right. Price is Right. They film a lot of episodes in several days and then just, play them. Same thing with Wheel of Fortune. They all do that way.
Yeah. Jeopardy. Yeah. They do a weeks in one day.
Yeah.
And then the next day they film for 3 days.
Yeah.
And then, so they have at least 3 weeks in the can right there. So they're ready to go. So looking forward to the next version. In a way, I hope they don't change it too much. I think the 100 people was a good number. I like that. So hopefully they'll keep that out there, and we'll see what they throw at us here in 2026.
Speaking of shows, have you ever seen the show on Netflix called King of Collectibles?
I have seen it on my things to watch, but I have not clicked on it to watch it.
Okay. So the 3rd season just came out and I binged it. This is based on Golden Auction House. Anyway, it's this.
We're going to go up. Sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. This is based on a guy who in the 80s was a baseball card collector and as a kid and decided, you know what, I'm going to see maybe I can sell some of these. And from that, got into sports collecting and selling, and then created this huge auction house, which is now one of the biggest in the world. So it follows the company and the people in this company. But you, as a former sports card collector and just collector in general, it's a really interesting show to watch because not only they cover sports cards, and it's about them getting cards in, trying to buy cards off the market, trying to flip it, see how much money they can make. It's opening packs, looking for stuff, but it's just also some pop culture stuff like movie stuff or video game stuff. They love Pokemon cards. They're all the time buying Pokemon cards. So you as a card collector and stuff, I think it would be really interesting to watch. King of Collectibles.
It's not one of those. This is one of those where Donna's like, you can watch whatever while I'm sitting over here doing like Vanessa does. I'm crocheting. Donna's over there knitting. I can go, okay, then I can watch whatever I want so that it does not mess up her count. Because I don't need that drama of messed up crochet knitting stuff. That's not going to happen. But
you'll see things like, they'll happen to catch somebody. The big thing now is you open in packs on TikTok or whatever, and to try to capture the moment when you get that big card. And there'll be things like they would find somebody, a kid who opened up a card and a pack and got this really expensive card. And then they reach out to this person. They say, hey, would you have any interest in, selling it? So then they bring in the family. They do a little segment. It's like, we think we think we can get you this for this card. We would like to commission it for you and sell it and stuff. So it's really interesting to watch.
Like Antiques Roadshow.
It is, but you actually see them go through the process of selling the card, and you get to see how much it actually went for. It's just the whole business behind it. It's super interesting.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. I appreciate you pointing it out to me because you're right. Because, I was talking to a buddy of mine who does a lot of card trading and does a lot of trying to make some money on that. Just sold an autographed Johnny Bench rookie card for over $300 on eBay. And he was telling me, and I told you this, I know that we need to go out and get our King Griffey Juniors evaluated because their prices are going up, up, up. And I'm like, it's about time, only 400 years later.
Yeah.
I don't even know where that card is.
I don't either. And the problem is, I know one of mine was ruined from the
flood
leak that we had in the basement. Yeah, the flood in the basement. It was the really good one. I had it done in a complete set. I probably wouldn't have pulled that one anyway because it was part of the complete set. But I think I have one or two more somewhere. But if they look decent, if you find yours, we can go in together and send them both together because it's cheaper to do a bundle sort of thing. I wouldn't mind slabbing it. Sure, why not? Let's see.
What did you just say? Slabbing?
Slabbing, yeah. That's what it's called.
Okay, see, I have to watch King of Collectibles to find out what all this terminology is.
When it's graded and put in that plastic hard shell, it's called a slab.
Okay. I'll ask my buddy Bill where he goes and gets his done.
I know PSA is one of the bigger ones, but I think there's several.
All right, well, I've got nothing else to do. I need to go clean my grill, so I know it's going to be 70 degrees here in January in the Carolinas. It's going to be amazing. Loving it.
Yeah, Vanessa's like, I don't like this at all. And I said, shut up, woman. This is great. She loves cold, man. She's like, I want to wear my boots and my coat. And she's got clothes for the cold and she wants to wear it.
Move to Wisconsin.
I'm very happy with this. I see for the next week, we're looking in the 60s all week long mainly. I was like, I'll take that.
We'll take that. Keep rolling dice.
And taking names. Thanks again for joining us in 2026. You can find all of our social stuff over at rolldicetakenames.com, including our Discord channel, which we'd love for you to come and join. Also, if you want to support the show, you can do so by heading over to the website, buymeamoonpie.com.
So, Marty, you got those little grandkids, but I want to make sure you're prepared for when you play in hide and seek with them. In case some of them get injured. Do you know where you need to take them to in the hospital if they ever get injured?
Is it not the emergency room?
No, it's the ICU.